I bought the Framework Laptop 13 back in late September 2024, which means I've been using it for around 7 months. And honestly, I've got a lot to say about it. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Framework Laptop 13. But before we get to that, please consider subscribing. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're very close. And also check out my Discord server where you can chat with me and my community about Framework and other tech stuff. And also my Patreon where you can support me financially and you can get my videos ad-free 2 days early and you can get your name at the end of every video once someone actually subscribes to my Patreon. Alright, let's start with the good. Simply put, the Framework Laptop 13 is a very solid machine. I have the Intel Ultra Series 125H and 32 gigs of RAM and everything performs great. One of my favorite features is the 120Hz display and I would seriously recommend you to upgrade to it because it makes the laptop feel much more premium. Plus, the high resolution is really great when you're coding on the built-in screen. And you can even bring the laptop screen really close to your face and look at the small text and you cannot see any pixels at all. It looks extremely crisp. Oh, and I also have the 3:2 aspect ratio. This is something that very little laptops have and I don't think it's being talked about a lot, but for me it's almost a deal breaker. I can imagine going back to a 16:10 screen, but definitely not a 16:9 screen. When I have a laptop with a 16:9 screen, I feel very claustrophobic. It just doesn't work on smaller displays. It works on large monitors, but not on small displays. Another great thing is the Linux support. Everything just works. Well, almost, but I'll get to that in a bit. Compared to my last experiences with Dell or Lenovo laptops that I tried installing Linux onto, where I had troubles with fingerprint sensors and Wi-Fi cards, this is a breath of fresh air. Here, you just don't have to think about hardware compatibility at all. And obviously, it's not just Framework's doing. A lot of credit goes to the people that actually make distros like Ubuntu or Fedora, but the Framework Laptop 13 is like the first laptop that gets us really close, and not only the 13 but probably all of the laptops from Framework get us really close to Windows level support. Another thing that I really appreciate is the expansion card system. I keep 2 extras in my backpack and I don't have to carry any dongles around. Need an SD card reader? It takes 10 seconds to pop one out and put another one in. Need a USB-A on the other side of your laptop because of the current setup you're in? No problem. It again just takes 10 seconds to pop one out and put another one in. Need 2 USB-Cs on one side? Well, you get the story now. I even use the expansion cards on other devices, for example my desktop where it only has one USB-A and one USB-C at the front, so I just pop in, one expansion card, USB-C, USB-A, and I have 2 USB-As on the front when I need to connect a wired mouse and a wired keyboard at the front. So the expansion cards have become like this very cool part of my modular setup. And finally, the best thing about all of the Framework devices, not only the Framework Laptop 13, and that is the modularity, upgradability, repairability. It's just awesome. Last month, the new CPUs from AMD were announced for the Framework Laptop 13, and if I wanted to, I could just buy a new mainboard and install it in, which doesn't make sense for me, but if I had the Framework laptop with the 11th or 12th gen of the Intel CPUs, this would be a worthy upgrade and I could just buy the mainboard and that would be it. Also, I would need the RAM, but you wouldn't need to buy a completely new laptop. You would just buy these two and you would reduce e-waste and save money. Now let's talk about the not so good stuff. And it's important to say that none of these things are really deal breakers and most of them can be improved over time. Having used MacBooks in the past, I have to say that the battery life on the Framework Laptop 13 is not impressive. One nice feature is that you can set the max battery charge in BIOS. I have it set to 80% to reduce wear, but with this 80%, I think I get around 4 hours of battery life with light use, like no video editing or gaming, really light use like web browsing and coding very simple stuff. So I could imagine that with not having this limit of 80%, I could get around 5 hours, which is just not enough, especially with light use. I've also run into a couple of quirks that I'm not sure if are frameworks or Ubuntu's fault. One of them is auto brightness, which I have to disable every time I do a fresh install of Ubuntu. And the other one is this weird lag that I get when I have a external display connected and open something full screen on my built-in display. The auto brightness issue is wild. It constantly shifts through brightness levels, and you can literally see it in full time how it goes dimmer and dimmer and then brighter and brighter in the same lighting. But I don't know, maybe it's just my unit, maybe the sensor of the brightness just doesn't work. And as for the lag, here, look, when I open something full screen on my built-in display, when I have also an external screen connected, it just lags like extremely. And I can even have two applications opened, but when these two fill the whole screen, it just lags like crazy. If you know what might be causing this, please let me know in the comments. And now the ugly. This is actually something that I'm trying to fix by testing out translucent expansion cards. Go vote in the description in the poll where you can decide which color I will be buying. But honestly, I just can't get over how weird the sides of the laptop look when you have the expansion cards in. Basically, because of the different light reflection they have, they look like they're different color and it looks really cheap. But there's nothing Framework can do. They are the same color. It's just, it's just physics. That's the way it works. So if you're really someone who cares about aesthetics, you buy Apple because you care about aesthetics, this laptop is probably not for you. So that's it for my long-term review of the Framework Laptop 13. Overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, which is a really solid rating. I just really like the laptop. Considering how small Framework as a company is compared to Dell, Lenovo, HP, they've managed to create a laptop which is really competitive. I really like it. It's a little more expensive, but it comes with things that aren't available on any other laptop on the market. And if you're willing to pay the little extra, you're not going to get a bad laptop. You're going to get a really good laptop, which is on par with all of the laptops you can get from these giants. But that will be it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and please check out my Discord and Patreon as I've mentioned at the start. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.